taking the retired racehorses and bringing them up to speed. Would you welcome Mr. Steuart Pittman?
So you're all here for the Retired Racehorse Trainer Challenge, right? That's why you're here? All right, woo! Be real loud when the horses come in. No, don't. Actually, be kind of quiet when the horses come in. In fact, here they come. Keep in mind that, can you hear me? Is the sound working? Okay. Keep in mind that these horses all raced, well, two of them raced. Well, actually, all of these horses raced in December, was their last race. So they've only been off the track. For a month or so. None of them have been ridden since they came off the track, except for once or twice just to make sure that they weren't going to be a problem. No, serious bucking, rearing type issues. The horses were selected, we went out and looked at horses, but really what we did was we put the word out among people in the racing industry that we were doing this trainer challenge, and that if they wanted to put a horse in training and pay a trainer for a month of training for $1,000, that we would put them in here, and at the end of it, the horses would be available for sale. And part of the reason we set it up that way is that we think that it's a good thing for people in racing and people outside of racing to give these horses some training, because it makes them more marketable, and then they find better homes, better owners. We're only doing 5 weeks of training, which isn't a whole lot. 6 months of training, it's a lot more expensive, but you get a lot more for it. But one of the reasons that in the show world, fewer thoroughbreds are competing than used to, is that the thoroughbreds off the track that are very inexpensive when they come off often don't get the good trainers. So you don't hear about the top show jump riders getting horses off the track in training. They get the European warm bloods, the horses that were bred to be jumpers or dressage. Horses, because people had already invested a lot of money in those horses, so they invested in the training. So these horses are going to go into training with these 3 professionals. And let me introduce them to you. They're all going to get on them, by the way, for the first time in just a minute. In the front, we have Tiffany Catledge and Solidify. Let's have a little bit of applause to see what they do. Okay, that's enough. Now we know how they react to the applause. So we're going to have to do a little bit less applause than we might normally. You just have to, you can go like this. That's what Quakers do. Because they're silent, you know? They go like this for applause. Yeah, there you go. Don't wave stuff though. Okay. Solidify is owned by Mid-Atlantic Horse Rescue, and they put him into the Trainer Challenge. He raced at Finger Lakes. He raced a lot. This horse, he's coming 6 years old, and he ran, I can't remember, 40 sometimes. I remember he ran 15 times in the last year. And he was supposed to come to farm as the alternate horse. Yesterday we had a session where the three trainers picked the horses, and Tiffany actually picked another horse, High Level, and that horse he actually had been out for a year of turnout, barefoot, and he got new shoes on a few days ago, and lo and behold, he's got a big old bruise, and he's laying this. Morning. So that's horses for you, which is why we have alternates. So she's got this one. If High Level is sound, Tiffany's going to take him home and start soaking his feet. If he's sound in a few days, she's going to use him, and then we'll have this horse. We've got Eric Dierks and Brazilian Wedding over here. Eric Dierks is from Tryon, North Carolina. And he got the first draft pick because he won the trivia game we played yesterday. Owned by Pat Dale, who sells 20 or 25 ex-racehorses a year, picks them up, puts some training into them, and sells them as a business. And then we've got Kerry Blackmer over here with 4x the trouble, 4 times the trouble, who they actually call Tempest. We didn't tell Kerry that his name was Tempest before she picked him. Kerry Blackmer is based in Frederick, Maryland. All 3 of the trainers are professionals who have businesses. They take horses in training, they also teach people, they also compete themselves, and they're all struggling to make a buck. So this is good PR for them. They're going to show you how good they are, and then you're going to more business. So we also have some judges slash commentators that are just outside, and we're going to bring them in after they've ridden so that we can discuss what's going on. We have Stephen Brown. If you ever wondered whether that's difficult for a horse, most racehorses can go sideways just fine, thank you. In fact, when they're being ponied, they have to. They usually have their head over towards the pony that's holding them. And Tiffany's horse, we've all been kind of interested because he's been extremely quiet all weekend, or 2 days. And even to the point that Bev Strauss from Mid-Atlantic, who brought him here, took his temperature this morning to make sure he was okay, which he is. And it's really interesting watching him, because anybody who was here yesterday saw that he didn't really show himself off, and now he's a different horse. He's got a real spring to his step, and he's come to life. Actually, Eric described him as maybe a bit of a sleeper, really quiet, but that he was going to surprise us when he went to work. And I'm kind of watching him thinking, I sure hope that other horse, high level, is sound soon so that this horse can come to my farm. He's nice and tall and might fit me. But actually you can see that Tiffany's using a lot of leg. She's giving him little squeezes every step, and she's really pushing him forward into an active trot. And she can tell us why when we talk to her at the end here, but it looks to me like her strategy is to push him forward to get it to focus on going in a straight line and doing his work, rather than just letting him dawdle around and look at you guys and spook. And it seems to be working. How you doing, Kerry? You gonna be able to get him to go straight by the end of this, you think? Yeah? We don't expect these guys to train these horses before your very eyes too much, although it would be kind of neat if they did. We do expect them to train them in the next 5 weeks. And the way you can follow this is that each of the trainers is going to be doing both written and video blogs on our website, retiredracehorsetraining.org. And their job is not only to train the horses, but to educate you guys. So you'll hear a lot of talk, especially from Eric, who likes to talk and educate people about their strategies. And you can watch and you can figure out whose methods you like the best. And then you're going to get to vote online for who you like the best, the trainers. You're supposed to vote for the trainers, not the horses. We might let you vote for the horses too, but... And then when we go to the Pennsylvania Expo, we're hoping that we can make the technical side of it work so that there's a live video stream if you can't make it, and you can vote anytime during the trainer challenge, but just once, hopefully. So I'm noticing too that all 3 of these riders are keeping contact with their horse's mouth, and I would too under these circumstances. All 3 of these horses are going a little bit with their heads up, and I don't think the trainers are too concerned about that at this point, but they can tell us when they get off and talk. But what we're going to ask them is, after they ride, we're going to ask each trainer to tell us their impressions of the horse and what they think they're going to be working on over the next 5 weeks and how they're going to do it. Then we're going to ask our judges over there to comment on what they're seeing with each horse and what the trainers are saying, and give some advice for what they should be doing over the next 5 weeks. Anybody want to show us anything fancy? We got some jumps out there. I would actually actually bet that if we put up a cross rail in here, that every one of these horses would trot right over it, but we're not going to do that. But anybody who's had an ex-racehorse and started it over jumps will tell you that they tend to be brave and not afraid, and that they know how to push from behind. And even though they might jump a little flat and end up pretty far across the other side of the jump the first couple times, that it's pretty natural for them. So there's Kerry again, using a lot of inside leg, trying to push the horse back into the rail. She's not wasting any time. She's going ahead and training this horse now. But God, I sure like him. I think Backview had a sleeper. I think he's showing himself up under saddle really well. I could really see that horse jumping big sense. Doing 11 as well. Kerry seems to have gotten Tempest going a little bit straighter. And it seems that most of his issue, she'll tell us, is that he's just looking at y'all. He's not a stupid horse. I'd be looking too. In fact, I am looking too. But the nice thing is that he's trotting in a rhythm now. A little less tense than he was. And you always know that you're doing well if they relax as they work. If they get more and more tense, then something's going wrong. And I think all three of these horses are getting more settled in and relaxed as they go. I'm going to ask the trainers whether they think it makes sense to canter their horse or not, or whether they'd rather just leave it at the walk and the trot. Louder? Louder. Yeah, I can't talk that much. I'm afraid I'm going to scare the horses if I talk loud. One at a time. Of course, Pat. You guys stupid? Yeah. Oh, look at that. We've already got one canter. Yeah. Okay, why don't we let her canter on the outside and you guys can wander around in the middle here. Oh my God, look at this horse's canter. Holy moly. Tiffany might not soak that horse's foot after all. But she might want to keep this one. Look, he does 170s behind. My God, look at that canter. Holy moly. You know, this ring is like 60 feet by 120 feet. It is small. And, you know, when we get on our young horses, 3, 4, even 4 years old, and we try to get them to canter in a space like this, they're usually all over the place and you can't get around the turns. But this guy had no trouble. The balance of his canter, he could have been cantering in something half this size. No problem at all. Wow. Who wants to try to canter next? Let's let... Who wants to? You want to go next? Okay. Yeah, let that guy get moving before he gets bored. Wow. Nice. Boy. Notice how Kerry is staying balanced up over her feet and her hands are pushed right down onto the horse's neck and her reins are fairly short. Up behind you there, buddy. Good. You do not see her sitting and driving to make her horse canter because he's probably got a fairly tight little back, like a drum, from running. And he's used to having his rider up out of the saddle, balanced over their feet, with their hands down and set and stable like that. And so he's pretty comfortable. And she probably won't really sit down on his back for quite a while. So I think she's smiling. You can let him trot and walk, give him a pat if you like. Let him walk, and then we'll let Eric canter. You happy? That was good. Man, we got some nice horses. And I promise you, unless somebody really pulled a fast one, in fact, most of the owners weren't even here last night that these horses haven't had any ace or anything like that to settle them. This is what you get. Wow, look at that. Look at that cannon. I can't believe she won a horse race. I guess she must be able to go faster than that. Good. You can go as long as you want, or you can trot and walk when you're ready. Look how much each one of them has got this huge grin on their face the first time they canter their new horse. Pretty good feeling, huh? You want to let them go the other way real quick just for fun? Let's go the other way, one at a time. Oh, by the way, they all went on their right lead the first time, didn't they? No trouble getting their leads. Partly because their riders know what they're doing and they're really well balanced, and they let them pick it up naturally the first time. But, you know, you hear, oh, well, racehorses don't know how to go on their right lead. They all just proved that wrong. Watch them not go on their left lead. Actually, racehorses do flying changes. They try to teach them to go on their right lead on the straightaway and their left lead on the turn. Some of them are better about it than others. Wow, this one does it both ways. Good lordy. You want to do a 10-meter circle? Okay. Ooh, 20-meter circle. Holy moly. You could enter him in his first event in the first 5 weeks. And go meet Stephen Bradley. Maybe. Wow. Is that not, I swear to God, these horses haven't been ridden. I mean, it's really, you probably think I'm a liar. Yeah, actually, Tiffany was, I said, yes, you can go out, you can work them in hand, you can do it in there. And she kept saying, can we just get on them once out there just to make sure it's okay? And I said, no, we really want to make this real. So that these horses haven't been ridden, other than at the track. Okay, who's next? Let's go, Kerry. See if you can get your left lead. Good. That was good. You know, if you watch what she was doing there, she knew she couldn't use her aids like you would a dressage horse, like that last guy in here with that fancy Andalusian or whatever it was, who's really broke. I mean, he was having the horse do it all off his legs in the seat, his aids. But these guys, you kind of let it happen because it's so natural. In 5 weeks, he'll listen to her leg. But, you know, these guys are used to having riders with legs way up here. So they're not so used to seat or leg aids. Good. Let him walk. Good. And that's one of the things that obviously takes some time. They'll go in a straight line usually, and they'll turn usually, but they don't really move off the leg usually. All three have a very different way of going too, don't they? They're all of real quality, but I don't know, you might want to make this one a fancy show hunter. Sell it for 150 grand, then go on to the next one. Come back. Wow. So, 3 for 3, 6 for 6 actually on the leads. Wow. Let him walk. Good. Woo! Okay, let's give him a little bit of quiet applause and see if the horses can handle it. Good job. Yeah, do the Quaker one. Yeah. Unbelievable. God. All right, why don't you get off? Switch horses. No, I'm just kidding. Get off. What? Bareback, right. And we are going to ask the trainers what they felt, okay? See what they thought. I think I'm going to take that one off. my cool retired racehorse training project hat. You can buy them in our booth. Really cool logo. Okay, let's, Kerry, come on over here. And we can hold the horse and talk at the same time. Here, I'll just give you the mic. Tell us what you think.
Well, he likes to keep moving. We learned that pretty quick in the stables. As long as he keeps moving, he's pretty happy that he's settling more and more. I have the youngest one of the three, and from what we saw yesterday, sorry.
Yeah, we didn't tell him that. This one is coming 4, so he races a 3-year-old quite a bit. The other 2 are coming 6, right? Or 2012.
And he last raced December 21st, I believe, so he's pretty fresh off the track. I think anybody in here would agree bringing any 4-year-old into this environment would be a lot to ask, let alone one that's just right off the track. But it's hard to walk and talk. But my plan was, just from what I saw yesterday, I knew he might be a little bit more nervous, a little bit more up in the ring. So my plan was just to come in here, try to have a relaxed ride, not stress him out, keep him happy, and I'm thrilled with how he went. I love his gaits. I think he's got a great balanced trot and a great balanced canter. I'm excited for this.
What do you think you're going to have? Well, never mind. We'll just go on to the next one. We'll ask later. All right.
So, as those of you that were here yesterday saw that all 3 of us agreed about Solidify's training potential and ability just based on how well behaved he was yesterday. When all the horses came in the ring, we all agreed that he showed great trainability. He was very, I mean, look at him right now. He learned quickly in here that I just wanted him to go forward and straight around the ring. He was willing to accept my leg without kicking or getting upset about it, and I didn't see any reason why I couldn't just start right now teaching him how to move forward off the leg and go straight. I'm actually really quite happy that I got to ride him today. I couldn't believe how amazing his canter was because he didn't really show us that yesterday. He was so quiet. And I don't really know that he even cantered for us yesterday, but his balance is unbelievable. I think he's going to be a great horse, whether I get to keep him or Steuart gets to keep him for this next 5 weeks.
All righty, and Eric Dierks.
Well, the first thing I usually like to quest to conquer is to get the horse comfortable in their environment. And she came out very quiet in this environment, so I got to work a degree further and just teach her a little bit about my leg gaits. My legs are way longer than a jockey's, so that was going to be my first concern hopping on her. How is she going to take my leg? But she was very good about that, so I don't know if anyone noticed, I would go down the quarter line and do little leg kneels and ask her to step off of one leg over the other. As far as the head placement, as Steuart mentioned earlier, a lot of the horses, they carry their head up. I don't like to dictate where the head goes. I think once the horse learns to balance, they end up stretching on their own. And you can see, if you have a really good eye, you saw this particular horse, she was figuring out how to stretch her neck. She would first drop her neck. And what she's going to be learning is how to stretch her neck, use her back, and carry the rider's weight. And I think you're going to see an even bigger piece from her than she already has.
Good. So you guys know that these horses are going to be in training for the next 5 weeks. Can you first, though, tell, I guess we'll start with Steve, what your impressions are of what you've seen?
I think everybody's done a fantastic job. I think it's going to be very interesting because we've obviously got 3 different riding styles to follow them during the course of the next 5 weeks and see how each one progresses within a different riding style. And I could tell that they were much younger than I am when they first just got right on the horses and sat down and got going. One curious thing I noticed, and I want to ask anybody who wants to answer it, but I noticed that all 3 came out with a flash nose game, and I just was interested in that, what the thinking was behind that.
Someone sponsored him with this bridle, so it was the bridle she brought. He was actually sponsored by, I think it's 5 Point Bridles and Tack, and this bridle was donated for him to wear today, so that's actually why he's wearing it. The flash is quite loose. I don't typically put a flash on a young horse until they show me that they need it. But this flash right here is purely cosmetic right now. It's a lovely bridle, and he probably won't need a flash right away in his training career until he shows, you know, that he's ready to start working into the contact, which is going to be a little bit of time.
That's great. I mean, it worked for everybody. There was no particular right or wrong answer. It just was interesting that all three were in a flash, and just an observation that I made. But I think that they all three obviously have had very good instincts with their horses and with starting them up and their expectations of the horses just going forward and going straight. And I think it's going to be a real learning process for all of us. The one thing I did want to say was what quality horses that have been brought here. And I'm not sure who picked them out, Steuart, but somebody did a very good job of picking out very nice horses with good heads. These horses.
And actually, I can honestly say that I didn't go look at a whole bunch of horses off the track to pick these. There was one other horse. I picked the first ones that people said they wanted to put in the trainer challenge. They self-selected to some degree because people didn't want to put a bad horse in, or a lame horse, or a crazy horse. But there was one named Bo Diddle that, if you look at on our website, we have videos of when we looked at them. And Bo Diddle, his ankle x-rays and his ankles made us worried because he had been injected to the track and he might not hold up to the process, but he probably will. So he's going to come to our farm and be in training with a student of mine who's going to work with him. But other than him, we took, we took what came. I mean, these are not that unusual for horses off the track. Andrea.
I have 2 questions on the tack that you guys have supplied also. None of you have a martingale or running martingale on these horses, and I was wondering why you all went with that. Eric, you're the closest.
Running martingale is a good piece of equipment. Sometimes I personally feel uncomfortable with running martingale because it's not long enough. Sometimes the horse gets downward pressure on the mouth and they panic even more against it. The less I have that the horse is going to be working against, I feel the better. And I'm very comfortable. I didn't use a neck strap on this horse today. I just had a good vibe about her. But usually I would have a neck strap rather than going to the reins.
Very good answer. The racehorses sometimes come with light, sensitive mouths off of the racetrack, and you just don't really know. It's better to have less as a horse sometimes, I think. And the other thing I noticed that everybody has boots and bandages on the horse. So let me ask Kerry. She did the answer one. So you have to know the bandage length.
Well, his owner actually chose to pull those, and that was a discussion we had back at the barn whether or not we wanted to wrap their legs. And we decided it would be best to do it just because, he was a little bit nervous and not quite watching where his feet were. We didn't want him stepping on himself and injuring himself before we could get started, so just a precaution.
Were you surprised, Andrea, that these horses were this quiet? I know you were interviewed on the radio and they asked you what you thought the horses were going to be like, and you said that they might think they're in the paddock when they hear the loudspeakers and everything and they're going to the races. Were you surprised?
Yes, I was very surprised at how calm they all were. We did see a little bit of it when people clapped in the beginning, and it upset them some. But you do an excellent job of picking out nice horses.
But I didn't pick them out. They picked themselves.
And it looks like the right horses have the right riders.
Yeah, or maybe these riders are just so good that whoever they're with, that looks right. All right, what do the horses have to say, Anne? And the reason Anne can channel horses is because she did write this book that you all should read. It's called Raja's Story of a Racehorse. And if you like Black Beauty, or even if you didn't like Black Beauty, it's the same idea as the horse speaking, but Raja has a way better life than Black Beauty.
Not exactly sure if it changed voices or what. all of these horses are wondering, what am I doing in here and what is going on and who are these people and am I in the paddock and what are these strange saddles and what are these legs on my side? And this is just all very confusing. I've got to sort this out. Now the gray horse over there, Brazilian, she's saying, I love Eric. He has got the softest hands, and I love David with a nice even reins. And he just let me figure it out. I don't know what those strange legs on my side were. That was a little confusing to me, but I really like being able to have a nice loose rein. And I think I kind of figured out as we went on what he was trying to do with the contact. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, that's good. I like that. So we've got Tempest over there. Tempest really was wondering when the race was going to start. Why am I in the paddock? Who's going on? This must be. There's a loudspeaker. There's a lot going on. The more I did, I realized that there probably is not going to be a race, and that's a little bit more reassuring. And the more I paid attention and got to do different things, it sort of got a little fun. Still not really sure about all those people. And then we have Solidify. Solidify is saying, you all underestimated me yesterday. You thought I was quiet. Well, I'm really a fancy horse, and look at me. And not only is he saying that, he's saying, I'll do whatever you want. Sure. You want me to do this? I'll do that. Want me to canter? Let me show you my canter. All right. That was channel.
He sounds just like in the book when the little pony's talking to the racehorse in the barn. In her book, horses can talk to each other too. But it's a lot of fun because then you start thinking like a horse. So Stephen, who pretty much has all ex-racehorses, and he pretty much goes to the Olympics on any old racehorse he picks out. What do you think in 5 weeks, seeing these trainers and seeing these horses and their potential, what do you think they're going to be doing in 5 weeks?
I think they're all three going to be doing some pretty good little flat work. I bet we're going to see horses that can go straight, can move off the rider's legs, and are very obedient and very accepting of the connection from their leg to their hand. And I won't be surprised if all three of them aren't jumping little horses. You know, whether it's just rails or whether it's including little panels and fill in the jumps and stuff like that. All three of the horses seem to be very, very good in their minds, especially considering that they all three ran so recently and they've been so good here today. I think that's going to lend itself to them being good students. And knowing all three of these guys as riders and jockeys, I know they've got good plans and got good systems because they've proven themselves on other horses. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Jumping horses, doing good flat work in 5 weeks. There's your challenge. So I guess at the Pennsylvania Expo, we'll have a course set up for you, right? If you'd rather, we could put 3 barrels. We were kind of hoping that at least one of our trainers would do something very different. Or we could do a polo field. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that horses off the track do, but we happen to have 3 trainers who are all multidisciplined, but they all compete in eventing, which is a multidisciplined sport. But Kerry Tiffany is often at hunter shows as often as events and dressage shows. You know, Eric's a bit of a dressage king, I guess you would say. His father was a dressage trainer as well. And so you never know what they're going to do. And they can do whatever they want. When they come to Pennsylvania, they can do a dressage test. They can ask us to set up some jumps. They can do anything they want to prove that, you know, whatever they think the horse is best suited for. I think that's all we need to do with these horses. Just briefly, how many people here have a horse off the track? Wow. How many people here would like to own one of these horses? Do we think that the horses are going to be worth at least $1,000 more in 5 weeks than they're worth today? Heck yeah. I mean, if these horses are cantering courses and doing nice flat work, I don't know. You cost you a lot of money. Too bad more horses off the track after this much training. But any of you who wish you were in the ring right now, being one of the trainers in the Trainer Challenge, how many people here would like to be in a Trainer Challenge with an ex-racehorse? Come on, more than that. Yeah, there's a bunch of you. So we're going to do a bigger Trainer Challenge later in the year where anybody can get a horse up the track and they'll bring it in and there'll be, an amateur division and a kids division, maybe a celebrity division, and we'll get Stephen Bradley and these guys to bring horses in, all the celebrities. And it'll be done differently. It won't be a horse expo where there's more time to do it. There's also going to be an apprenticeship program for young people who want to make a career training horses. And we'll send you out and place you with these nonprofits or these businesses like Pat Dale's who train horses and monitor what's going on in the apprenticeship to teach people how to do better job of this. And then every one of you who has a horse off the track really should go to the website, our website, click on the Bloodline Brag, and enter your horse and answer all the questions about your horse's characteristics and your horse's post-racing career so that people can search by pedigree to figure out what bloodlines are good sport horses. You're doing it, you're spending 10 minutes doing that so that all your horse's relatives will be found as good horses. So come on over to our website, our booth over here, and you can talk to the trainers, and you can enter your horse in the Bloodline Brag, and you can buy our hats, and all that good stuff. And then before you go, we have little presents. Bring in our little presents, would you, for the trainers to take home. The first one is a great big old bucket for each of them from Nutramax. It's got Cosequin so that all of these horses' joints will be nicely, oh my goodness, lubricated, as well as some other Nutramax products in there. I think there's even Cosament for people, right?
And dogs.
And dogs. Oh man. So their dogs and the trainers will all be nice and loosey-goosey by the time we come to Pennsylvania. And we have little goodie bags from the Maryland Horse Breeders Association. In Maryland, the folks who breed the thoroughbreds have an organization, of course, and they're extremely excited about what we're doing. And they not only have sponsored our being here, but their foundation has just decided to give us a grant of $5,000 towards the stuff we're going to be doing over the next year, which we think is great because we really need to support the racing industry. So they're a partner in this. And then they're each going to get a copy of Raja, and they're going to be quizzed on it in Pennsylvania. And make sure that they read it. Maybe they'll have to do online book reports. They know this part when you're doing English.
That's great.
And they are also going to get a pair of spur waders, which are spurs that have a disc on the end of them that were developed by a Canadian rider who's in the booth over here, specifically for horses that are sensitive. And I've been riding them for the last year, and I love them because it's easier to reach the horse, and when you get there, it's a little bit more blunt. So any other goodies? But we also want to thank some of the other sponsors, Larkinville Training Center, Doden Farm, our farm, is sponsoring it. A woman named Carolyn Carlson actually seeded money to help really get this thing going. She's a big owner of racehorses. And Mid-Atlantic Horse Rescue has also sponsored us. So we're getting some support out there from some good people. And I'm really excited about this. So thanks for coming.
Thanks.